what I see you cannot do for yourself, which is a message of disempowerment that is not in alignment with what your inner being knows to be. So what we encourage you to do is to feel around until you find something that sits well with you, which means your inner being is resonating with it. And then don't listen too much to the others. Esther gets letters every day that say to her, you know, you charge less than anybody else doing this kind of work. And Esther says, I'm fine with this. And Esther gets letters from people that say, you know, you charge so much that I can't come. There are so many people that have so many opinions about each and everything that you will ever do, that if you get yourself all twirled up in trying to be the path of least resistance for them, right, then you'll get your eye off your ball and you will forget who you are, and then you'll have stress in your vibration and your point of attraction will be negatively impacted. And so
oh, I get that.
we were
It's so totally
teasing yesterday. We said we think you should call Facebook Nosebook, because you've become a world that sort of has your nose in what's going on with everyone, and it doesn't serve you unless you're really solid in your alignment, because it's really easy to let whatever it is that you're giving your attention to be the reason that you are offering the vibration that you're offering, and then your point of attraction is affected by default. Helpful?
wonderful. Can I tell you one fast story? Okay, so I didn't have the money to come here.
Really?
Nope, no kidding. And you came onto my phone. I listened to a meditation. You popped on my phone. I was like, oh, Abraham, someone gave me your CD years ago, probably right after you first started, and said you might be interested in this. And I listened.
If it was right after we first started,
yeah,
it was a
like
cassette.
On a CD. Oh, yeah, and it might have been a cassette, actually. It could have been a cassette. And they said, you might really enjoy this, you know. Well, I listened in the attraction thing, and I lost it. Okay. Many years later now, 2 months ago, I'm listening to my meditation. I go to put it in, and you're on YouTube. And I'm like, oh, there's that Abraham. So I started to listen.
Do you know that you could have sat in a day on YouTube and received more information that you will ever receive in a day like this, and it will cost you nothing?
Yes, and you know that you spoke to every issue. I'm telling you, like, what I'm saying is that you came to me.
What you're saying is, I was in a vibrational place where I attracted to you exactly what I was asking for, because I was in a state of non-resistance, and so it happened instantaneously. And then I showed up in a room with hundreds of people, and first crack out of the box, I was called forward for the same reason.
Yes. Ian, the money thing. So the money thing, I did not have the money to come. I was like, I'm going to see Esther. I saw that you were coming. I'm like, I don't know where I'm going to get the money, but I'm going to see her. I'm going to see Abraham. I just can't wait.
Power in decision, isn't there?
Made a decision that I was going. I didn't know where the money was going to come from, but I didn't care. I'm telling my cousins about, we were on a walk on a path, and I'm telling her about Abraham and low vibration, high vibration. I'm explaining some of the things that I learned. As I'm saying it, I looked down, I said, oh, wait a minute, what's that? I walked back, and under some leaves, there's an earring. I go, oh my gosh, look at this, an earring. So I started to scrape it, and I go, wow, that looks like it could be a diamond. And she looked at it, and she goes, oh, it's probably a CZ, you know. I said, yeah, but wouldn't it be funny that if this was a diamond, this would be a demonstration of exactly what I'm telling you? It was a real diamond worth $9,000. So, what I was so excited about was not so much the money, but I was aligned. It was like, this is what I've been asking for, and my truest desire is to be aligned with that of which you have been teaching us, that inner source, which...
And if we were to stop talking right now, and you were to only hear that story forevermore, that would be all you would ever need to know about what we teach. Really good. Really good.
Hi.
We are.
I know. Just came off the Mediterranean cruise. Woohoo! Such an amazing time. I had the smallest, it seemed small, but I was just listening to this lady that just spoke, manifestation. And I was sitting at dinner one night, and I was thinking, you know, they haven't been asking us if we want coffee. I'd like some coffee, I think. And about a second later, the waiter came over and said, would you like some coffee? And I said, yes. So then I thought, he went away. I thought, I think really what I wanted was cappuccino. So I said, well, I'll let him. Oh, well. So next thing you know, someone sits a cup of cappuccino in front of me. So what I'm saying is, are we headed to the place where we're just desiring and receiving?
Well, you're not headed there, you're already there.
Yeah.
You're already there because what you have asked for is already a vibrational reality. But the gap, how long it takes to close that gap, is a much simpler thing than most people realize, because most people are trying to close that gap through action, where the way you close the gap is by ceasing the resistant engines going the wrong way on your track.
Yeah.
After the Mediterranean cruise in Rome, we were talking to a large group of people who had gathered from 58 countries. And someone raised their hand and lighted up, and we called them forward, and he said, I have no questions at all. I just wanted to say that I was just sitting here thinking about how much I love my dog, and you called on me. And he was demonstrating to himself and then to others that in that thought that holds no resistance, all that is in his vortex could be answered in a timely way. And so when we say to you that you've asked for so much of it is so ripe and ready for you to receive, and it takes so little for you to be in the receiving mode. But if you're in the struggling mode, you're not in the receiving mode. If you're in the efforting mode, you're not in the receiving mode. If you're angry or frustrated or worried about something, you're not in the receiving mode. So you got to feel light and easy and playful. And so things like that are often conducive to being in vibrational alignment with who you really are. And so once you have an experience like that and you are able to consciously capture for yourself, and by that we mean notice it and then milk it, so that you own consciously what it felt like when that happened. In other words, our friend, what was I feeling like as I was walking down that path and my eyes picked a needle out of a haystack? What was I feeling like? How was I feeling? Well, she was high and she was open and she was eager and she was giving, she was flowing, she was explaining, she was in the receiving mode. And when you're in the receiving mode, there are answers to everything that you want all around you. And so we like to tell the story. We know you've heard it so many times. So here's the vortex, ripe with all of the things you want, with your inner being there, and law of attraction having already gathered the cooperative components, which means law of attraction has gathered the cooperative components, the things that are most likely for you to easily rendezvous with. Now, did you hear the way we expressly presented that to you? Because your inner being knows exactly what your path of least resistance is. Your inner being doesn't judge you for resistance that you've got on your path. Your inner being notes the resistance you've got on your path and calls you around it. That's why the impulse to take that walk at that time with that person on that trail and look that way in that light happened. That was timing of extraordinary proportion, you see. Many people would say it is inconceivable that that even happened, and yet those things and many more like them are available to you all day, every day, when you're in the receiving mode. So we think if we were standing in your physical shoes, the first thing that we'd be doing is figuring out, to me, what does the receiving mode feel like? Sometimes it feels like interest. Sometimes it feels like passion. Sometimes it feels like just a happy heart. Sometimes it feels like love that turns you inside out. In other words, that receiving mode feeling feels a lot of different good feeling ways. But when something happens, when you are able to actually make the correlation between what I was thinking and how I was feeling and what manifested, what just manifested, not what's going to manifest, what did manifest, what just manifested. Once you make the correlation between that and identify and isolate and keep active in yourself as long as you can the feeling of that, now you are becoming a masterful creator. We've been talking, we know you've heard us. Step 1 is contrast helps you to ask and launch the rocket of desire. Step 2 is source answers it, your inner being stands there, and law of attraction has answered it. In other words, everything that you think is future manifestation for you is present tense vibrational reality. It is already done. Step 1, 2, not anything for you to do about it except live life and experience the wonderful consequences of living life. Step 3 is you got to find a way of feeling about what you're asking for, not the absence of it, feeling the presence of what you're asking for. And then step 4 is just getting really good at step 3. Step 4 is just mastery of that, and that's what we're talking about here. Milking it, identifying that something happened, and this is how I felt, and then keeping that feeling active within you until you own it in a conscious way. Because when you do that, you accomplish a momentum that is easy for you to achieve again and again and again. And so that's what step 4 is. I can get there easily and I can stay there long.
I feel that's happening. I feel
Yes.
like I get there really easily.
Yes.
And I'm having so much fun with it.
Yes.
I had a thought the other day for the first time. I've heard Abraham talk so much about the journey, and it's not about the thing that, you want the things because you think they'll make you feel better. And for the first time, I'm not sure what happened, I actually felt, I think I just want the journey. And it was the first time I ever really felt that. And it was like, now the fun begins with that.
Well, here's what we want to say to you. You are so much further on your way to the full fruition of the things you want than you know, because you've already explored the contrast and you've already put it in the vortex, and source has already been there, and law of attraction has already gathered the cooperative components. So that's so much that you don't now have to do. It's already done. And now law of attraction is gathering more cooperative components, and your vortex is getting ready for you to be ready for it. So much has already been done. And then you just find some reason not to be mad about something. Just stop doing that thing you do that holds your vibration down, and your vibration will go up. You didn't have to do stuff to make it go up. Just stop doing the stuff that causes it to go down. Just stop holding the cork under the water and it will bob back up. So then, as you sort of get the hang of that and get happier and happier, then this wonderful thing begins to happen, because you are the same vibrational place that the things in your vortex are, the same vibrational place where your inner being is. Now the transfer of thoughts from your inner being to you, just like what's happening right now, we are transferring our thoughts to Esther. And because she's in the vibrational place that we are, she's able to receive those thoughts and translate them into the physical word equivalent. This is a manifestation that is happening, that is just like what happens to you can happen to you all day, every day. So now, as those thoughts begin coming and you are enjoying them, enjoying that journey, you can get into this sweet spot where you look over there and there's a $9,000 diamond. And you look over there and there's someone who's been waiting to talk to you. In other words, timing. Law of attraction is the orchestrator of perfect timing. But you have to be conscious of your vibration in order for you to be inspired to the movement that puts you in the right place at the right time. And you cannot be at the right place at the right time if you're mad at somebody. You can't be at the right place at the right time if you're angry about something. You can't be at the right place at the right time if you are discouraged or depressed. And all of those negative emotions are just the results of you thinking in opposition to the thoughts that your inner being is thinking about the same thing.
Yeah.